been busy with my spray can, painting some things black, and these have come up really nice. A little bit overkill, but if we're going to restore it, we may as well restore it. So I'll just give you a little fly past of what we've got there. We've got the pulley wheels, we've got one of the idlers, a small pulley wheel, one of the mountings for the wheels, and we've also got the roller assembly as well. So everything's all painted up and it's looking really good. So we're going to carry on with the next bit that I'm going to show you next. We're going to carry on with this one. This is the front roller assembly. I remember from one of the previous videos it was all rusty and it was bent, and I've straightened it out, and this load of rubbish definitely was not a Qualcast part. Someone had just used a studded thread and put some horrible nasty little bolts on the end, so we're getting rid of that completely. And what we've got is a proper diameter rod as it should be fitted. So what happens, you can bring our assembly over, bring this fella over. So what you've got, I need to check it for length, but what happens, this fella goes through there, nice fit, he fits in there. Oh, look at that, beautiful, beautiful. That goes in. Let's angle it down. You've got to sort of fiddle your way through now. Ah, there we are, we're through. Alright, so that fits through there. And that's how it fits on. And this roller, I did think it was worn, but it's running on this shaft reasonably well. So really all I need to do, what normally happens then, these are some old knackered ones, but what would normally happen now is you have what they call a star clip washer that fits on the end here and just holds those in place. Shorten that one there, as long as you've got enough room to get these star washers on. So I've just got my little bar to length now, and I've got a new, they're called capped Starlock washers, and these go on the end, and this is what holds everything in position. So we'll just get one out. Again, these only cost a few pence. You go on the net and they're only a few pence to buy. So I'll just fit one on one end. Okay, oops, they are. There's the first one on, and it just creates a nice little, this is how they were made originally. When these lawnmowers were made, this is what they had on. So why these have disappeared and got lost, I do not know. So I can thread this on, just drop that one through there, thread it through, marvellous, absolutely marvellous. Okay, we get another one, another cap washer, and put this one on this end. Now it's on. Now doesn't that look much better? Here's one of the next little jobs, and you might recognise it, it's the roller. Now I don't think a lot, hopefully, can go wrong with this. Short of a little cosmetic clean-up, it looks okay. So what I'm going to do is give this a clean where it's been stood so long in one position and it's got a bit of extra rare rust on there. I'm just going to give it a good going over with the wire brush and give this a good cleaning. It's most of the surface, all the surface rust and crud has been ground off, and I've given it just a quick wipe down on top. Let me do that again if I can find my thing. Here we go. Let's do that. And do you know what I'm thinking of? Is if I use my rust preserver on this, that'll come out nice and black. I think I might do that. Just go and get my rust preserver. This might look rather good when it comes out all black, rather than this rusty colour. So for the other ones I'm going to do that. And I think that might look alright. So let's give it a good going over. I'll make it look as though someone's had some bit of tender loving care with it. Looking better already. All painted up with the rust protection, and I think when that dries out and that's going to be all jet black, I think that's going to look pretty good. So I'll be interested to see what this looks like when it's finished. We're going to leave that for a few hours to let the rust preserver do its thing. Preserver treatment has done its thing, and I think that looks pretty good. I'm quite happy with that, and I think that looks alright. So that's that little job done, and we move on to the next little job. Alright, so what I want to look at is this cog here. This sits on the bottom, and you may remember, if you've been watching all the other videos with great interest, you remember when I took this cog off here, this part stayed on, and that's because this brass bush bearing has actually come away from the body of the cog. The cog itself is intact, there's no damaged teeth, although there is some wear on it that I can see. See, if you look at this side, you see these teeth are really pointed, and if you flip it round, you see they're rounded, where there's been no wear, and it's just where the teeth have been engaging. I've found a lump of brass that will do perfectly for what we want, so I've set that up in the machine, and I'll just set the camera up to give you a grandstand view. Try it again. Oh, lovely, perfect, that's spot on. Here's our bush ready, and we should just be able to do this as a force fit. Oh, it's going on lovely, I hope. If I'm too tight it will burst this. It looks okay. Oh, perfect. Oh, look at that. Excellent. It's given this a new lease of life. I say this was worn but not broken. Okay, all done. What I ended up doing was putting this in the chuck in the lathe. So this is spinning round, and then just feed this over to polish it down. But it's now polished down, and that fits on, lovely. Love it. So that's perfect. So we've managed to save that cog and sit that on there, and hey presto, there we are. That's our drive wheel. One of the drive cogs fixed back on. Bush is all held firmly in place now. And say it's given this cog a new lease of life. I've just cleaned up this other cog that fits onto the I think this fits onto the pulley, the large pulley that fits onto the real roller, and it's pretty much the same story in terms of wear. You can see it looks okay here. When you flip it round, you've got the same type of wear again. But say they're not broken, so they can easily be reused again. These are our nice pulleys that you saw yesterday that have all been repainted and refurbished. So I can put the bearing things back on for these. I'm trying to remember which one is which now. I think it's that one. Has the small. This one's got the small on, from what I remember. So let me get my little screws specially for this, and we'll reassemble this one on. I might have to play the video back to see which one it is. I'm sure it's this one. I'm sure that one fits on there. Pretty uninteresting stuff to watch, so I'm going to pause the video on these, and you come back when I've fixed these on. See you in a minute. In fact, now I've assembled these, that does make sense. There's the drives. This is say this is for the cutter. So this off the motor, off the engine, turns this cog here, and this cog turns the actual cutter blades. Right, back again. I've just been to find the circlip from where I left it, and this just fits back over here. You can normally get a big pair of pliers to force these back on. Oh, it's going on. Oh, no. Let's force it on, hang on. Oh, it's going on. There. There's a circlip on again now, so that won't come off. And that, I'm going to put this back on there. And that all stays on in nice alignment now. And you know, it's a tiny little bit stiff. That's because I've swapped the gears round. So the worn sides are now the other way around. So we'll put a little bit of grease on this as well, and a little bit of oil, just to help it along. But yeah, that's looking good. Let's put a little bit of oil on here. I probably never had any oil on here for 10 years since it was, looks like when it was abandoned. Oh, that's even better already. Better already. Hey, look at this. We are ready to, oops, sorry about that. We're ready to reunite the mower with its roller. So what we've got to do is guide that spring through there, at the same time being careful not to break this nylon body as you shove it through. So we need to be quite careful to do this. So I might have to move you out the way for a few minutes while I get at this properly. So see you in a minute. Okay, we're back. This was a real fiddle, you know. It took me about 10 minutes to try and ease this back in. It's still not there. I thought I'd let you see what you've got to sort of thread it, force this spring. There's some guides underneath, while the top part of the spring goes through part of the body. But like I said, you've got to be real careful. You don't, if you force it too hard, you'll break. This nylon thing can break. Going gently. I'm going to have to pull you back a little bit so I can get some more fighting room on this, and I start trying to thread trying to thread a needle in a sandstorm or whatever the expression is. There's a little hole there that I'm desperately trying to find. But say this is a job that's it's going on, but it's got to go through the little. There's another little hole there that's got to fit through. Ah, it's in. There it goes. That should push in now. Perfect. Don't ask me to take that out again, because that would be a real nuisance. So there's a little bush there that this fits on. So there's our roller, front roller put on, and I will put the tensioner back on now, which fits which fits in there. I can just slot the thing through. Fits on there. So there you go. That's it. I'll just give it a little bit of oil here and there, because it's all a little bit stiff now. A little dab there, a bit there, and just on there. But we're on our way back. The patient is still critical, but we've restored some of its life functions. So we'll see you again in the next video, when we'll carry on and be doing a little bit more. Thanks for watching, and if you like it, hit the like button and subscribe and tick all the boxes and give all the ticks and all that good stuff as well. So we'll see you again very soon.